What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to this really late night agenda. I'm recording this at 10 past 11 on Friday night, the 14th of April, the night that I will officially announce that I have admitted my defeat in Liverpool's chase for Jude Bellingham. I do finally believe that it isn't brinksmanship, that we have walked away from the deal. I've looked at Jurgen Klopp's comments in the embargo section of the press conference. I've looked at his expressions and his face. I've looked at how he's coming across to the media. And I think I am, all of us are going to have to get used to the idea of Jude Bellingham not signing for Liverpool Football Club. Now, I want to make it very clear that I stand over everything I said about Bellingham wanting Liverpool, about obviously a deal being doable if FSG paid the money. So, from that extent, I regret nothing. But I'm going to be honest and I'm going to say that my gut feeling right now, based on everything I'm seeing, is that it's dead in the water. I hope that it's not, but I won't be making another Jude Bellingham video for Anfield Agenda. Moving forward, I'm going to give our manager the benefit of the doubt out of my admiration for him that he can rebuild the midfield with other targets. And I won't be spamming any comments or videos about anything else Jude Bellingham. If we get a nice surprise and Jude Bellingham ends up signing for Liverpool out of the blue, brilliant, we'll celebrate it. But until then, it's time for us to start looking at what we can actually do with the rebuild. And I think that's where I need to dedicate my time over the coming days, weeks, and months. And of course, the end of the season with the lads as well. And I guess I'm going to open up the floor now and ask you guys for realistic expectations of what Liverpool could do for the rebuild. Because for me, it's minimum 3 midfielders in and 1 centre back. Now, I want to see that he's serious about everything that they've said. So if this realization that we're led to believe came over Klopp, came over FSG, came over the recruitment team, that the rebuild is indeed a greater task than they thought and more was needed, then I want to see the ruthless streak. I want to see the players who are deemed no longer good enough to challenge for a first team spot to be moved on. What I don't want to read over the coming weeks is a James Milner contract extension or Fabinho being kept at the club even though we're bringing in another central defensive midfielder. We need to free up every penny. We need to be ruthless in what we do and we need to be ruthless about how we spend the money. So right now, we are freeing up potentially £1 million a week if we move on Roberto Firmino, James Milner, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita, Adrian San Miguel, and anybody else who's at a contract. I think I've covered them all. So that's a good chunk of money. Let's even call it 750 grand a week. That's a lot of money for Liverpool to be freeing up that they're able to use to bring in enforcements. If they are really serious, then the only midfielders that I think should stay at the club, I understand the idea of keeping Henderson if you want that leader in the dressing room and you're willing to take that minimised role that James Milner had. So I want to see Fabinho sold. I want to see the players we've spoken about being allowed to just leave. And I want to see the only midfielders left at the club then being Thiago, who has 1 year to go, Stefan Bajcetic, Curtis Jones, whom I still don't think is good enough, but I can understand the club wanting to give more time to, particularly as they just signed him on a new deal. Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, and the new additions. The rest should go because they won't be good enough. They won't be enough to make us challenge. We need to be ruthless and free up the money for every area of the pitch to give us as much money as we can to get those 3 midfield reinforcements and to get the centre back that it looks like we're going to require. And of course, that would include John Matip being sold. So for me, players who I would sell, Fabinho, Matip, Phillips, couple of the fringe players perhaps. Kelleher looks like he may well be sold, but I don't think it's that anyone's real want. I think it's more just a realization for the lad's own career that he wants to play first team football. And then add that to the kitty, whatever this sum may be that Liverpool have. Is it possible for Liverpool to rebuild a midfield without Jude Bellingham and get back to really challenging? I would say it's odds against, but not impossible. I think it's entirely plausible and possible that Liverpool strengthen midfield and get back into the Champions League places, which may be enough for the owners, but won't really fulfill our immediate ambitions as fans. That being said, I am willing to give the benefit of the doubt to our manager, not to our owners. Everything I've said over the previous months, years around their owners, I stand over. I've no time for them. They led us down a path for 2 years and again kept promising us and they didn't deliver. So let's see what the manager can do. Because make no mistake about it, Klopp's under pressure for the first time as Liverpool manager. He knows that he has had a bad season and that everyone's understanding and accepting of that. But next season needs to be better. So for the first time in his Liverpool career, he's under pressure and you can see it. He has to get this right. If he doesn't get this right and Liverpool aren't in the top 5 by the time Christmas rolls around, I think for the first time in his career, he may be, or Liverpool career, he may be facing the possibility of being sacked or moving on. And nobody wants that to happen, absolutely including me. So, as I promised, no more Jude Bellingham. I will focus on the targets that I think we should go after as alternatives. And they could be the likes of Barella. I'd like us to go for Rice. I don't see it, though, from a Liverpool perspective. I think you're talking a similar fee, and I think he probably wants to stay in London. And there's lots of talent. Ugarte, another one. Levi Colwill from a centre-back perspective I spoke about from Chelsea. I think Mason Mount will probably be a realistic possibility. Conor Gallagher, I don't want Liverpool to sign, in all honesty. But it needs to be 3 players that we are in no doubt of. It needs to be 3 signings that Liverpool fans hear and go, okay, that's a midfield that will work. Supplement that with Bajcetic, Thiago, Elliot, Carvalho, and let's see where we go. But, you know, I want to give Klopp the benefit of the doubt because of my admiration for the man. And I don't like seeing my manager as emotional and as stressed looking as he has been. But our owners are charlatans. Our owners are absolute disgrace. And the sooner the better. They sell up and leave the football club for me. Because I've said this many times. If they don't have the stomach to keep their hometown club, the Boston Red Sox, challenging and competitive, if they're willing to let that dwindle down, that's the place where they walk the streets every day, see Bostonians, look them in the eye, and they're not willing to keep them competitive, I don't see how or why they've any interest in keeping Liverpool competitive once the value of the asset continues to increase. So that's my take on it, and that's my promise to you guys. From this point onwards, you won't see Bellingham on any thumbnails unless it is a case of Liverpool about to announce a deal, which looks very, very unlikely. So that is it for me tonight, my friends. It is a very late agenda. Again, like to know your thoughts. Drop a like on the video. I guess if you're glad that I'm going to be shutting up about Bellingham, do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And again, I look forward to catching up with you guys over the weekend. Much love. Bye-bye.